Hi guys, it's Jill, and today I am doing an interesting sort of video, and I'm gonna jump right into it because it might take me a minute to like wrap up the whole thing. But first, I want to say a little disclaimer. Obviously, you can tell by the title of this video. My boss hired an animal communicator. We were both just kind of like, if anything, it'll be entertaining. She was really curious about some of the horses out here that have had some health problems, or that like we haven't been able to really like understand what's going on with them. And like Juno, who came from the kill pen, we wanted to see if she had anything to like say about that. But I'm mainly gonna focus on Zoe. So the first time she talked to this lady, my boss gave her her married name, which is important because on social media or anywhere online, she is listed under her maiden name. So you can't find her under her married name. So this is important. They talked, and she told her that she had a farm, and the lady was like, well, can you send me pictures of all of your horses? And my boss was like, all of them? Because she was like, I have about 50. And the communicator was like, well, can you try to send me pictures, like group pictures or something? Because they tend to feel a little bit left out if you don't photograph them as well. She was like, okay. So she took pictures of everybody out here. This lady, she doesn't have a website, she doesn't do the internet or anything like that. She just does word of mouth. That was interesting. Yesterday, we got the call. I missed the first half of it because I was driving back from class, but they were talking, and apparently the woman had forgotten to like schedule us. So she like forgot everything because my boss's email with all the pictures didn't go through. There was a whole thing. They got everything sorted. My boss texted her the pictures, and then they started. This is important because, as I mentioned before, it's hard to find my boss online under her married name, which is what she gave the animal communicator, and the lady also forgot all about us. So, I mean, that's obviously if we trust that. I don't know, I'm giving you the skeptical perspective. I'm not sure where I fall on belief or BS on all of this stuff, but I like to keep an open mind, and it's kind of fun, so why not? I got here and they were doing all the different horses, and she had some really like spot on things. Only picked out certain horses for certain things that they were like really accurate. But anyway, so then we get around to the pasture that Zoe's in. Zoe, Mac, and Rosie are all in there now. And so there was a picture of them. So she's looking at this picture, and this was all over the phone, by the way. I don't know if I made that clear. Also, the communicator did not know that I was there. I was just like sitting to the side, like being quiet, just listening to Sunny talk. Also, Sunny was very careful not to like give too much information. There are a few times, because I transcribed the whole thing, but there were a few times that I was like, you could have like not, but like for the most part she kept to simple yes or no, or just like she's 7. But anyway, I've been talking for 5 minutes, so I'm gonna get into this lovely thing. So quickly, what she said about Mac, because when we were reading off names, she said Twinkie hates his name, and she said he wants something that's powerful and elegant and red, and we were like, okay, well, I was never a fan of Twinkie to begin with. Guess we're gonna come up with a new name for Twinkie. But she said Mac likes his name. He's fast, quietly competitive, and might nip someone on the butt as the quietly competitive. And I was like, that's really interesting, because I just witnessed him, like the day prior to the phone call, witnessed him bite Zoe on the butt so she would move. And I was like, accurate, and you don't say that. She didn't say that about every other horse. She said he's won things before, but wait, he's so young he wouldn't be competing yet. And she didn't know that he's off the track. Sunny said, well, he's not competing yet because I just pulled him off the track. And she goes, oh, did he race? And she was like, yeah, and he won his last race. And she was like, oh, well, that makes sense. And we were all like, ooh, spooky. She said, educating guests, and Zoe is the one in the middle. And the communicator said, oh, she likes Zoe. So I was like, thank God my horse doesn't hate her name. She said, did someone tell Zoe she looked like a mule? And me and Sunny were both like, Sunny said probably. I mean, she was just at the vet's forever, and we have like an old cowboy vet who's probably like, you freaking mule. The communicator said she just thought they were stupid because they didn't know the difference between a mule and a horse, which I don't really know what to do with that information. And she said that Zoe said she's very beautiful and she deserves to be recognized as such. So that happened. And when I was cleaning Zoe's stall last night, I was like, I don't know who called you a mule, but I'm gonna have their head because you are a beautiful young lady. not a mule. The communicator asked how old Zoe was. My boss was like, she's 7. The communicator said, Zoe feels that she's talented, but she also feels like she's not very competitive. She said, I can do it, but I don't really care if I do it. I'm very talented, but she just doesn't care if she wins. And I was like, that's interesting, because every other horse on the freaking property was like, I want to be an eventer, I want to be a dressage horse, I want to be a mom, I want to be bred, or Mac, quietly competitive, and Zoe is the one that's not competitive. The communicator said that doesn't mean she can't win. If you ask her to, she will, and she's a good girl, but she just like doesn't, like, she's not competitive, but she will do it if I were to ask. That's pretty much the summary of like that part of the conversation. And I was like, you know, well, that makes me feel less bad about taking her out of eventing for a while, or if we ever decide to go back, because I mean, it's not like my biggest concern. I really just want to enjoy my horse and like have a good time with her. As I've said in previous videos, it's just like, I love eventing and I will do it on the other horses that said that they are cool with eventing. But beyond that, they are sale horses, so I have to, and it's happy coincidence that they want to, according to this animal communicator. With Zoe, like, it makes me, I don't know, like, if I choose to believe it, then it reaffirms my suspicions that like it's just not really her thing. It stresses her out and she doesn't like, but that's if I'm choosing to, you know, swim with this fish, you know what I'm saying? My boss said Zoe's had some health issues and she had to have surgery, and the communicator cut her off and said, when was she coughing? And my boss said, don't recall her coughing. She had colic surgery, and then Juno annihilated her and she had to have some surgery on her leg, which is, she didn't have surgery on her leg. I don't know why that's what Sunny said, but that's what she said. And the communicator just started laughing and she said, she's a maniac. She says that Juno, she's maniac, crazy. And then she said Juno was just laughing like, I don't know how I feel about all this dynamic, but I believe that Zoe thinks Juno's insane. She asked if we had any more questions for Zoe, and I was like, I can't speak. She doesn't know I'm here, and I don't want to like ruin the whole thing by like giving away that like any information. That's, I'm glad I didn't. My boss said, does Zoe want to go back into being a competition horse in eventing, or would she rather do something else? Which I'm so glad she asked, because I couldn't say anything, and I was like, I want to ask questions like while we're here, and me and Sunny talk so much that like she got me. The communicator said she answered that in the earlier part about not being competitive. She's into doing what she's told. A lot of horses are that way. They're like, why are you asking me? You decide. She'll do anything you want her to do and be happy. She just wants to be ridden. That's her answer, really. That's what she said. I'm cool with. I would like to establish like a more positive relationship in the saddle, rather than sort of just me getting on and being like, get round, do lateral work. Like, I would like to ride differently, but I don't know. It was interesting. And so my boss said she wants to be ridden, just not competitively. And then the lady just like didn't respond and said, is there a younger girl that wants to ride her? And me and Sunny looked at each other and we were like, and she said yes. The communicator said, who's that? That's also one of her humans. And Sunny said, that is Jill. She works for me. She rides her, and Zoe is her horse. But Zoe was my horse to begin with, which is true. Sunny bred her, and her mom's actually out here, and her sire was out here for a while, but then he passed away right before Zoe colic. And the communicator said, oh, okay, well, she's definitely Jill's now. And like, she started laughing so hard, and Sunny was like, yes. And the communicator said, I was trying to think of a polite way to say that she wants to belong to this younger girl, so that works out. Which is, that part is a little wild to me, because there's no way that she could have found me. I mean, like, obviously I'm bigger on social media and it's not hard to put like Zoe Jill, you know, it's a thing. But I'm not anywhere on my boss's Facebook page. Nowhere does it indicate that I work for her, and she doesn't post about me ever, so like, and beyond that, on her Facebook page, it's not her married name, it's her maiden, so like, I don't know. And I'm not, this was an elder lady, and I'm not necessarily convinced that she's into internet deep dives, just throwing that out there. Or, and then she said she'll do anything that Jill asks her to do, which makes me uncomfortable. Like, I want to work together. And so my boss said, okay, so she really wants Jill to ride her, but not competitively. And then the communicator said, well, she herself is just not competitive, but she doesn't care. She can do them and win. She's just not competitive. And I think you might find Jill to be similar. And then she like started like talking as me. She said, maybe I'm not actively competitive, but I like to ride, which is, I haven't been to a show since spring of last year. And I think that, like, I mean, if I had to infer, and I'm going along with what this woman is saying, me and Zoe are sort of in a similar place where we're just like, I just kind of want to enjoy your company and just like hang out and have fun. Like, competing is fun, but like also there's so many rules and it's so rigid, and there's like, it really kind of takes away from the relationship for me, and it puts more focus on like winning and how we can use each other to like get to the end. And that's sort of like my perspective-y shift on it. And I don't know, like I still want to do cross country and jump with Zoe, but just like in a more relaxed way. I don't know if that makes sense. And then she said, so animals do mirror their humans, and she loves her. She loves Jill a lot. And Sunny said, Jill will enjoy hearing that. And I'm standing right next to her like, yes. By the way, she did not say that a single other horse out here had a person. So either she looked it up and she knew somehow on her internet deep dive, or Zoe genuinely told her or communicated it to her in pictures, which is what I understand that they do. They like send pictures and that's how they communicate. I don't know. The communicator said if Jill hugs her and kisses her, she likes that a lot and to do it as much as possible, but she's not going to initiate anything. She's just not that kind of horse. And then she said a lot of horses are like that they've been brought up to do what they're told, and it doesn't necessarily occur to them that they have a choice, which I was like, that's all the training I'm doing, is like attempting to give a choice, but also still like being the dictator of like what is right and wrong behavior, but also being more clear and like the yes, that's right. Click, give you a treat. So she said it doesn't occur to them that they have a choice, and then she's kind of like all over the place. I don't know if Zoe's sending her some messages that are making her bounce around. She said, now if you're saying, and she said that, and I was like, nobody said that. But like, did Zoe say that? Going out on rides with other girls and other people, like just laughing, and that's fun. And so I guess she's like talking about like just enjoying hacks and stuff. I used to do that with Zoe all the time, but then my barn friends and I stopped being friends because of drama. And I was like, I'm tired of this, I'm bouncing, sorry, I'll ride alone. I stopped doing that, and I need to with Sunny. We have plenty of ponies that she can ride. Like, after she said that about like going out on rides and stuff, and then she said, but she doesn't want to have any babies ever, like completely unrelated. And that is so weird because I haven't posted anything about it, but the night before this phone call, me and Sunny were discussing breeding Zoe, because we were talking about how we're breeding Ghosty and Dixie. We were looking online, and we even found 2 potential stallions that we wanted to like AI Zoe with, and we were like really on it, and I was so excited. I was like, yes, obviously fancy warm blood stallion, yes, hello. And then all of a sudden I just got this like weird gut feeling, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is such an awesome opportunity. Like, Sunny's offering this to me, and I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I want to breed Zoe. I don't know if it'll change our dynamic, like her being a mom and she won't be like a baby anymore. And like, it just, all these thoughts went through my head, and I was like, she'll just have something else to love, and like, will she still love me? And like, I don't know, I went through this whole like weird situation in my head. The thing that really got me were like complications, especially since I almost lost her twice this year, once to colic and once to infection. Like, I was just like, I really don't know if I even want to risk the potential for complications. And I know that's like super paranoid. I just like, I don't know if I could handle that. Like, Zoe is everything to me. Then to hear the communicator say she doesn't want to have any babies ever, it was kind of like, yeah. And we didn't ask her that question, and all the other horses that she was talking to out here said that they would potentially like to have a baby, and Zoe was a no. The communicator said, well, you raise neonate animals, they're permanent babies. Babies don't want to have babies. Though you had a high percentage, Zoe is not one of them. And then she said to help with the colic potential, just to put her on some probiotics, which she said for every horse out here. So somebody likes probios. But yeah, so that is my experience with an animal communicator. If you've had one, please comment down below because I want to read them. And if you have one that you really liked, like maybe drop their contact information or their website, because I think stuff like this is fun. Like, even if I don't necessarily buy all the way into it and I'm a little skeptical of like the way in which her communications are derived. I don't know, like I really don't know. I like astrology, ethereal, mystical stuff, and I don't know how I feel about this. Kind of just agnostic to the whole thing. I don't know. So yeah, just let me know what you guys have experienced, and if you have anyone that you recommend, I might give them a shot. Yeah, this was my experience with an animal communicator. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you don't think I'm a crazy person for thinking that my horse is communicating with people through pictures and a phone. But yeah, that's all. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe. I hope you're interested, and I hope that you have a wonderful, 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 wonderful